This is so exciting. Okay. I put this on. I put this on. No. Perfect, perfect. Okay. Audio. Okay, that's fine. Because it doesn't need audio since it's going over there. Okay. No, bro. No, bro. Don't talk to me. You don't know me like that. Okay. Let me see if I'm live. I think that I am. I think that we are. Bum, 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 bum. Okay, let me hide that there. Ooh. Oh, the mic was off. Whoopsie. Okay, let's see. Going. Oh, I am live. Let me go see it. There we are. Okay. I gotta try to sit in frame for y'all. I think this is good. Maybe let home the page on. This is so close. And I need to go into the settings and fix the camera because what the fuck is this? Bluetooth devices, maybe. Camera. Basic settings. Okay. Can I zoom out just a little bit? Okay, what does that look like for the ladies and gentlemen at home? That looks good. Okay. Can we maybe turn up the brightness? Let's see. Perfect. I think it looks different like everywhere, which is crazy. Let's do a little bit of saturation because I feel like I'm getting like whited out here. Oh, hello everybody who's like popping in. We're gonna be doing class today. Let me see. Let me go ahead and open up this. Oh, not that. You guys are not supposed to see it. Just a Zoom link. All right, here we go. NFAQ, but I can't really X that, can I? Students. You know what I'll do? I'll just go cut and hashtag and boo, boo. Oh shit, that's not what I meant to do. Fuck, just paste. Oh my god. And student FAQ. Okay, you guys can see that, right? Okay. So therefore, you can kind of see what we're going to talk about a little bit today, right? Let me go ahead and hit the live for my people at home. The people at home. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Okay, I think they can. Let me see. Spotify. Oh my goodness. Okay, let's just start the live. I think finally everything's like organized. I think everything is organized. Finally. You guys have no idea how happy that makes me. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to class. I was just telling people who were here before I was setting up and like doing my weird ramblings. I'm so happy everything's organized. Okay, I have to give proper where proper is due. My husband got me this this arm clamp thing that goes on so the mic is off the desk because I kept hitting the desk. He was like, you know, you should put your mic on something because you're picking up a lot of sound. And I was like, okay. And then I continued to hit the desk. So he got me this because I was like, oh, that is a good idea. I just refused to do the good idea for myself. That's something I'm working on, you know, when I hear a good idea, like do it or let it happen. Anyways, he got one for me. And I was just like, oh, wow, thanks. And normally I would have been like, oh, I didn't need that. I would have just I would have like found some kind of shortcut. But because he got it for me, I was so thankful. And then I put it on and it's like, whoa, my whole desk space has been changed. I'm so excited. I'm so excited. So that being said, I feel like my desk got a facelift and she's literally off the ground. Oh, look, you guys can't hear that. I mean, you probably can. Oh no, I think you can. But anyway, you can't hear it as bad as it probably was. That being said, I'm going to try so hard not to shout because now the mic is like really close to my face. And I just turn everything up and call it a day. Yeah, so that being said, oh yeah, we're gonna do class. We're gonna cover some current events. Energy is pretty good. I've done some tarot readings as astrological updates, and I'm actually having a lot of fun channeling that way. Okay, and this is, I'll say this, I take a lot of inspiration anytime something pops off or something happens, that's controversial. Ask yourself what drew your attention there for you personally that has nothing to do with the controversy. Like, what about the themes and the topics stuck out for you? So the last two ones have been the ballerina controversy, about a woman. She is an ego vlogger, and like most ego vloggers, she likes to create these dreamscapes. Probably, I don't know, it's just it's part of the craft, right? You create dreamscapes, and the video is the creativity and the art, and also you're creating an experience, and also people pay you an awful lot to watch, a dream. Essentially, imagine all of those. If you guys are millennials, you'll remember growing up with cartoons that used to have little cut segments in them, and it's like a little dream, and the character goes off and they're like dreaming about something. That's like scrolling on TikTok is seeing that, right? So anyways, so she's an ego blogger, and she went to a regular ballet studio in a bodysuit thong. And I don't think anybody in the actual studio cared at all. That's not something that people generally care about. They're there to like work out. But she shared it on the internet. So of course people who consume ballet aesthetic because they just enjoy it, and people who consume the aesthetic because it's part of their industry. So meaning they're in it somehow. They do art there somehow. They're either are ballerinas, they were ballerinas, they coach ballet, they make art for ballet. So that includes people who help put on productions from background all the way to the foreground. So this is anybody who touches ballet on like a daily basis for the most part. They're what like that's the core audience for ballet content. So when ego bloggers do like their ballet core, it finds its way in there, and obviously the people who work in that space have a lot of opinions, and it freaks out the general public. And so obviously that's what was going on. I find that shit to be so juicy and funny. Plus I like the outfit. I thought it was cute. I mean, like, definitely it was very it was a sad thing to be caught doing it. If only she could have gotten away with it. Oh, wow, it would have really been a dream. But when I saw all that, what I really sat with was the fact that I was like, ooh, I've been meaning to redo ballet. I've been meaning to go back and take classes and stuff, and I've been like slow-key conditioning my body to do like more extreme stretching and stuff like that. And yeah, that was a personal thing. Oh, what was another one? Oh, the tarot reader that went back to Christianity. Well, I don't know if she went back to Christianity, but she went to Jesus. That's all I know. I didn't watch any of the videos, and I don't know very much. All I knew is that it really threw a lot of people into an uproar, including Haley Williams, Paramore. What's that song? Oh God, the monster one. Ugh. I can't think of it. It's making me so upset. But I also love Brick by Brick. Oh man, I can't think of any of her songs. Crush, crush, crush. 2, 3, 4, nothing compares to the quiet minute alone. Na da da da. I think I'm tuning again. Anyways, I loved her shit back in the day, man. You couldn't get me to stop. Misery Business. I was misery, but nah, I'm just kidding. I liked her stuff. It was so good. Anyways, not just her Paramore Decode, although I love me that one. But anyways, yeah, she made a song, and she she references the tarot reader in the song, and then she did a concert recently where she was singing the lyrics, and she goes, Alex reads tarot, R.I.P. And so that was circulating. It's like, man, this woman cannot go back into the church without loud bells and whistles. I don't know what she must have done leaving that particular area, or what may be in store for her, but she sure did go back with a bang. I'm like, man, can you imagine you decide to change your spirituality, and a singer who has the audience of like millions of people just casually mentions it? I guess that's the price of like impact to some degree. I don't know. I hope her all the best because honestly, I think the general gist, or at least I'll tell you guys what I got out of it personally. But before I do that, I'm just gonna say, for the sake of the fact that I have a platform in this space, it's very important not to form parasocial relationships with people. Please let them live their lives. There is no amount of explaining that anyone can do that is ever going to convince you of something that you just have your own personal biases against. You're never going to be able to see somebody else's lived perspective in a way while being parasocial. You know what I mean? The only way that you can actually see someone as an individual is when you're not being parasocial. So that means you're not using somebody as a means to direct your life. You're not asking them to hold power over your life. And so, like, think about it. If you're a kid and you like live at home and you have like two parents, and then one day they're like, never mind, we're going to switch it up. And then like one of your parents just disappears and a new woman comes around and her name's Molly and she's your mommy now. You're going to be like, whoa, this decision impacts me a lot. What the fuck do you mean you got a new mom? What do you mean I have a new mom? Like, what the fuck? Right? Like, nobody consulted me. Nobody told me about anything. Children have the right to kind of demand some kind of stability from people who have power over them, right? They make decisions for them. They curate life for them. They condition them. So when you're in the childlike seat, of course you're going to be like, what the fuck are you doing over here? You're knocking over my plans. Like, some kids aren't upset because they're super attached to the old mom versus the new one. Some of them just don't like what it looks like on the picture change. You know what I mean? Like, what's that going to look like when I go to school and I got to explain to everybody who this bimbo is, right? Like, geez. It's not like I liked the other one, but fuck. I have charades to keep up. That's like for some people, right? Some people are like, oh, geez. My entire life just fell apart because someone that I have deep emotional intimacy with just disappeared out of my life out of nowhere. No question. Like, that's a horror film for some people. For some people it's a comedy coming of age. You know what I mean? Everybody experiences it differently, but everyone experiences having their world rocked by a parental figure. And I'm going to say this with all the kindness in my heart, don't make strangers on the internet your parental figure. That's really fucking weird. I'm so sorry. I'm laughing really loud. But yeah, that's really fucking weird. Don't do that. Don't make me your parental figure. You all will never fucking know what it's like to have me as a parent. You know what I mean? Like, my kids are with me almost like 24/7. That's a totally different fucking experience than you all get. You all get like a small piece of me, on a Thursday sometimes. And then I make these small videos when I'm in certain moods to do that. These people have to deal with me in every single mood. You know what I mean? They get to know me in all of the different ways that I am me and all this, that, and the other. And that's partly because, like, they need that time to get to know themselves and the history of themselves to be able to understand why certain energy is energy. And then also, what is the difference, right? Oh, yeah, look at that. Parents have a role in providing tools and resources for the children that they share genetic makeup with. You know what I mean? Like, that, those are some real lived things. You all will never know what that's like. Don't ever make me a parental figure. That's strange. That's weird. We don't share. No, no, no. And so don't do that to other people. Otherwise, it makes you crazy. All right. So, what did I get out of it personally, though? That was my soapbox speak when I'm on the podium and I'm, telling people my thoughts and opinions that sometimes feel very much like judgments. I get it. But, that's just because I say it with conviction. Not because it's a judgment. It's just my opinion with a little bit of conviction and a lot of fact and logic behind it. So I can understand why it's hard to compete with. You know what I mean? And it's like, well, it feels like a judgment. That's how that feels for you. But anyways, what I personally got out of it though was going back to tarot. I was like, well, I guess she made some room in tarot. Let me see if there's something I want in here. And I just walked into the little tarot space and I said, tarot card, what shall I do? And it was like, tell them about the planetary zoo. I'm just kidding. I'm doing weird rhymes because I'm talking about tarot. Anyways, it just rekindled my own attention towards tarot because I hadn't really given tarot too much attention. Oh gosh, I'm hitting the mic now. I haven't given tarot too much attention as a reader. As a consumer of it, it comes by my For You page every now and again, but I don't really pull cards too often. And then I thought, what a good time to get reacquainted. And it has been so fucking delightful. And that's why I'm saying to ask yourselves, it's like, I know that sometimes it comes across as holier than thou to be like, why do you have a think piece on a thing? And then it can sometimes come across as needless to have think pieces, this, that, and the other. The point of reflecting on drama is to ask yourself, why has your attention been turned towards the theme? You just saw something, and you only saw it the way that you did for a reason. There are so many other dramas that go on all over the place that you don't see. I love being in the mix. Not in the mix of it, but no, I love being in the mix of the news feed of it, you know. Oh man, like that the bricks and minifigures, that's a RICO charge waiting to happen. I just found out about the tech companies that have been colluding on the chips that they make. Oh god damn it. I know the companies, what is it like, but I'm not going to list them right now because see, this is what happens when you get your news secondhand. I got to tap that source. Let me see. What else has I been in? What else have I gotten some juicy gossip on recently? Oh man. I don't know. Maybe I'm boring. But the point is, you know, like I like being tapped into all sorts of different sources that give me all sorts of juicy gossip about things, and your attention on that is for a reason. Your interest towards it is for a reason. Start stating the elephant in the room and start getting comfortable with, I guess, like where your attention draws you, and asking yourself why. What are you getting out of this? And that's how you get out of like the mess of it. The longer, think about it this way, the longer your attention is drawn towards something, the longer you are pulled towards the center of it, right? And the more you're pulled towards the center of it, the more emotionally overcome you are because you are in motion with it. And so therefore you're likely to, like, are you in alignment? Are you not in alignment? All these questions that come up when you see people spiraling out, generally speaking, or when people like get really like swept up into like a mob all of a sudden. All of that is because somewhere along the way they were unable to like step outside of it because they never reflected on why their attention was on it in the first place. That's how you step outside of it. Yeah, Love Island. You know, all the reality TV shows are a showcase in what happens when Survivor is a great one. What happens when you shove a bunch of people on an island and then you put them in survival mode. So you either, make them drink a whole bunch. So that way they are decision fatigued. Okay, that means they can't make a lot of good decisions. It's too much work because their body is is processing so much of the alcohol. Their liver is overworked, so they can't be bothered to make any more decisions. They're overworked. It doesn't seem like it. It seems like slurred thought, slurred vision, slurred right? You're moving in slow-mo, I guess. I don't know. I've drank before, and the only thing that happens is if I just pee it all out, and I'm just like, ew. What was the point of drinking something that tastes disgusting just to turn around and pee it all out? And it's because my body processes it really fast. It's just like that. But anyways, when you're in a space, right, where you're not processing, you're slowed down, then it's because you're spiraling inside of some hysteria of a group dynamic. Oh, thank you. You're spiraling in a group dynamic and you're involved in the storyline. You know what I mean? You're involved in the whole thing. That's not necessarily a bad thing if you know how to step outside of it. You know how to step outside of it when you also understand what inspires you about it. That's it. Just know what inspires you. For me, the moment the ballet thing happened up, right. I didn't go watch the source material just trying to figure out whose side I was on X, Y, and Z. I went to go see it and view it as myself, and I was like, ooh, this makes me want to do ballet. I think it's working. It's ego blogging that's working. I was like, and look at that cute suit, this, that, and the other. I was like, I didn't think anything twice about it. Anybody else in the video. It worked on me. I was like, I'm inspired to go do ballet. And then when I heard people's concerns, I looked at it again now that I was informed, and I went, yeah, ego vlogging is a problem, huh? Overall. I mean, it does its job, but its job has shadow sides. Why? Because I'm able to recognize both the positive aspects of it, what I'm inspired by, and also hold the concerns about like how it is and what it brings and what problems it brings, et cetera, et cetera. And merging the two is an awful lot like merging, like art and man, it's like high excellence and hospitality. Generally speaking, in restaurants, they have this issue where how do you hold the bar in the vision and the art form of the restaurant, and also the service of the people who are experiencing this restaurant. So there's an artist, and then there's someone who's experiencing it live, and this is a live experience and this is a creative experience, and these two things have to be bridged, and the bridging of that is the service crew. Okay, and so what I'm teaching right now is essentially how hospitality works. It's being able to make this back end disappear, only show the highlights, and to know how to do that in live time. Get what I'm saying? And so, I forgot what I was saying in the first half of it to bridge this, but I needed to explain this kind of analogy. Is it good to be able to accept something, then decipher the why? I think it's good to be able to know why you're accepting something, and then you can dive deeper into why is that thing something that makes you feel good. Okay. So the question was, is it good to be able to accept something, then decipher the why? It's good to know why you feel good about a thing, because you were accepting something, right? So why do you feel good in this accepting this thing? It's good to know why, and then you can dive deeper on why this thing makes you feel that way. But you should always, and okay, maybe it's not necessarily always, I want to kind of amend that. Maybe not always good. It's important to know why you are accepting this thing that feels fill in the blank. You should know how it feels. You should know what you are accepting completely. And then you can dive deeper on why you feel the way that you do about what you have accepted. But you should know what it is, essentially. So if I'm accepting, let's say someone saying, hey, I want to marry you, I should know why I'm saying yes. And then I can spend the rest of my life diving deeper on why that yes felt good to me. There you go. You get what I'm saying? That's a good one to show you like a high pressure situation and also the long term trajectory of that. Right, not always good. Yeah, because sometimes you don't always feel good. Like sometimes you are accepting that, something is over and that feels terrible, right? But you should know why that you are accepting that, because you know that when something dies, grief feels terrible. So you can accept the grief because you know that when something is dying, this is how grief can feel. You can then spend the rest of your time deciding whether that grief is going to stay that way for you or whether you'd like to transform it into something lighter. If that makes sense. Oh man, I don't remember what I was talking about before this. Oh man, I got off on a little tangent. Not the tangent that you asked. You're fine. I was off on a tangent before you asked. I was talking about the bridging the gap between hospitality. Man, but what led me there? Oh, that's a bummer. I hate it. I hate it when I drop a transmission like that, because it was something good. I'm sure it'll come back around. I'm sure it'll come back around. Anyways, oh, there you guys are. Your screen share is mirrored horizontally. Oh, so the screen share, it looks backwards to you? Okay, I'm going to change it. Thanks for telling me, by the way, because I was going to ask. Whoopsie. I was going to ask because, let's see. Flip it horizontal. There we go. How is that? Because on my screen, what I'm looking at that you guys see looks backwards. But like on my OBS, it looks fine. On Patreon, it looks like it's backwards. And I'm like, what is that? But you were looking at it, so I flipped it so it looked backwards to me. You get the point. But it seems like flipping it actually just, now it's forward for us. Okay, so you can see it better? Like you can see it properly. Okay, that's good. As long as it's forward for you. It's forward for me in all of the right places. It's just on my view on Patreon. I don't know why I'm seeing specifically a mirrored thing. That's crazy. Crazy. Okay, I'm so glad. Okay. I'm so glad I looked at that. Oh my goodness. I totally forgot about the Zoom. Is anybody in the Zoom? I feel so bad. Let me go over there and click on. Let me go click on it real quick. Oh no! Oh, child, the Zoom. That's a mess. Let me see. And and I laugh at this because I said to myself, I was going to type for the better experience, go to the Zoom. And then I thought to myself, haha, what if I forget about the Zoom or the Zoom goes terrible? Swear to God, you can't make this shit up sometimes. All right. I opened up the Zoom just in case. I'm going to put it down at the bottom. Maybe I will record it just in case. Yeah. Let me do a share screen. Fine, record to this computer. Girl, don't be so aggressive. Hello, everybody at home. No, it was the recording in progress voice. I was like, ooh, it's a little extra. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not trying to be mean to her. I'm just saying it was a lot. I don't like this share screen. Why? Okay, I'm just going to stop the share screen until it's time to share a screen. And we're just going to work that way, just in case anybody is at home with the Zoom. I cannot minimize while I'm recording. Fine, whatever. Do you, Zoom. Do you, girl. You do you. Okay, I'm back on the Patreon. And we're back here on TikTok. Resentment and attraction both seem like balloons. If not communicated, they build up. Yeah, and resentment and attraction both gain a lot. They like I like to think of it as you said they seem like balloons. And think that the more air that's pushed into a balloon, the more thought air that's pushed into a balloon, the bigger it gets and the more visible it is. Like I'm gonna notice a red balloon in the sky. I don't know if you guys have ever seen one before. I have many times. A little red balloon just floating by in the sky, and you're like, oh, a red balloon. Right? Like, that's because I think it's really easy to see a red balloon in a blue sky. The contrast is really big. Now, a red hot balloon going by in the sky is even bigger. Okay? Now, I've seen tons of hot air balloons up close. Love it, love it, love it every time. They're huge. Okay? You see them. You see them. They're big. They're really big. So, they draw a lot of attention. The more air you put into something and think of a balloon as an encasement that seems to hold the different, like your soul exists in a plane that's just like ether. Okay, the only way to make ether make sense in that space is to create boundary, and in that boundary the ether kind of formulates into a shape, and then we know the difference between this blob and this blob. You know what I mean? And think about it, as a human being, it's kind of the same thing. The difference between you and me are we are blobs. We're different types of blobs. Or we're balloons, different types of balloons filled in with lots of thoughts. The more thoughts that fill us, the more visible or the more attention that we team to get. Because think about it, the more thoughts that surround a person, if I'm standing in a room and Nicole Kidman is standing in a room, how many thoughts are going to be around me? How many thoughts are going to be around Nicole Kidman? You get what I'm saying? All the thoughts are going to go to Nicole Kidman because she just said, I'm Nicole Kidman. And we're like, oh, Nicole Kidman's in the room. Wasn't she in? And we're thinking about all of the ways and all of the different ideas that we have about all the thoughts. That's a really big attention. You get what I'm saying? So now all of a sudden, the guy in the green shirt 2 seats behind you, don't even remember him. You don't even remember him. Because all of your attention goes towards the biggest balloon in the room, the biggest blob with the most thoughts around it. And sometimes that happens even when you don't know why. We just call it energy. It's just a vibe. It's just a vibe. Yeah, you just start collecting your vibe, you know what I mean? Put some shape around it. What am I talking about these days? I was supposed to start class. That was supposed to happen a while ago. Let me see. I never turned on my music. Let me do that. Do we even want some music? I don't know. I kind of like the dead air. How about you guys? Yeah. Let's just keep it. Let's just keep the way that it is. Okay. Let me see my notes so that I can keep calm, keep safe. Oh. Let me see. I am going to add a window here so that everybody at home can see what I'm looking at. Obsidian. Obsidian. That way. There we go. That is so small, but I think you guys can get the gist of it. Not my whole face, just there. Let me close this. There we go. And make this thinner. Oh. Oh my god. Did I just make Jesus happy? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to say it like that. I don't know why I said it like that, but I did. I feel like there was a baby Jesus that just went somewhere because I'm happy. Haha, you see what I did there? Anyways, okay. I think everybody can see it at home. Yeah, I just pulled up a new screen. So, let's go over the notes a little bit. So today's topics, I don't know if you all follow the CERN stuff. I barely do, but I do. Once I did watch when they turned on CERN back in, what was it, like the 2020s, 2019, something like that. I was watching the live stream, and it was strange because for a live stream, it had a lot of weird shit going on, like people pretending to be on computers for no particular reason. And I was like, why would you put on a whole production with people who don't even know how to do the production? So these clearly aren't people who work here. These are people who are paid to look like they work here while you do this whole like CERN. We're doing this stuff. I was like, this is the weirdest fucking thing I've ever seen. And then when I asked a question, one of their physicists apparently sent me a DM on Twitter, and I was like, that was a weird way to respond. Why would you respond to me this way? Yeah, it was strange. Anyways, that's about as much experience that I have with CERN for the most part. Occasionally I would listen when they're turning it on again, and I was just like, well, I don't know. I stopped caring. Only because it was like, I'm sure in my mind, whatever they were doing was probably splitting like photons in certain grids, and it was probably fucking up grid space, and then because the grid space was fucked up, it was probably causing other things to get like increasingly fucked up, which means that timelines were getting mangled and jarbled. And it's not like your timelines are, it's like your awareness of the other timelines jarbles them, because then you start overthinking. So when you're overthinking, there are gaps in your own biosphere. So imagine that happens to Earth. Earth starts overthinking a little bit, which can be a little strange, you know what I mean? Because that's not what Earth does. So I guess like there's a recalibration thing that happens. Anyways, I don't know. I just noticed that my energy seemed to change all of a sudden to counteract with whatever was happening. And then it would go back to normal and then change and this and that. And I feel like my energy has shifted back into its new normal, which holds both frequencies at the same time. So what I mean is, they turn it on, and if shit gets wonky and weird, I would still be fine because I'm counteracting it. If they turn it off, I would be able to reach homeostasis again pretty easily. And if they were jiggling it on and off, on and off, on and off over a while, I stopped noticing altogether because my system is calibrated for both. And it's the same way that I channel planetary energy, because to be totally honest, astrology is the same way. You can't stop Jupiter from like hitting and blasting you with energy. You could probably turn CERN off, which may be giving you like tension headaches or something, right? But you can't turn off Jupiter. So when you regulate your system, what I want to say, to like be able to identify, shift, process, and outcome or something like that. Like the ability to regulate during the process of energy moving through your body, when you're able to do that consciously, yeah, it makes the whole thing like, it makes you really good at shifting and changing with energy. So it wouldn't really matter if somebody was turning on and off something, because you shift and change in order to repel, and eventually you become something that repels the thing turning on and off to begin with. It's a whole thing, but it's like, I don't know. It's like I feel like I'm reading like a lot of different layers of this conversation all at once. And it's making it sound very simple and easy, but it's a really super fucking complicated and strangely almost looks like things indirectly impact each other all the time kind of like situation. Meaning, anyways, meaning is really big. But so he said, might be why they turned it off, to try to throw off the regulated twins. I don't know. I would hate to assume that like there is such a deeply seated purpose there, because generally speaking, the people in those places are so far removed from the realities of the people who are bothered by it that to them, those people are a number on a piece of paper, not anything that they would even ever think about. So, when you're like, statistically speaking, when you drink milk, maybe like only 3% of cows are really harmed in the making of all milk. Like, you know how people go, oh, that's a small number. Yeah, it's kind of like that, I think. Where it's like only 3% of people would suffer, their head exploding at this level. Oh, that or the earth explodes? Yeah. All right, that's a small number. You know what I mean? Like, that's a small number because we think the earth will explode if we don't do this thing. Well, why do you think that? I don't know. I mean, all the numbers point to that. And if we just keep following and fixing and breaking and fixing and breaking, eventually one day it'll work. And you're like, what is this logic? And then the robot starts to, like, I don't know, springs start falling out of the person's head. No. That's how I feel like a lot of modern day science. Like, some of the scientists sound and feel like that. Especially in like physics and the environmental scientist. They're like, I think they've all found out that they were in the room with people who were using them for capital. And so a lot of their research, you have to understand, like, even in science spaces, people get like really hooked into biased thinking simply because they were pipelined from like a university in Texas versus a university in, I don't know, Spain, Barcelona, or something like that. You know what I mean? Like the pursuit of science is really dependent upon the region and the place that it's in. And so a lot of those people, a lot of the American ones, I don't know, a lot of the Western thinking ones, they seem to be kind of crazy. Their sci-fi is a little weird right now. The three body problem, like, they're like, when we realize that the numbers, none of it's real. Like, they're in a very like nihilistic place in some aspects, simply because they don't have, and they spent an awful lot of time going into one direction that they don't. They're like out in the blanket space, like there's just nothing out here, because they don't have any of the other creative thoughts necessary to see things a little bit differently, even though they're in the room with someone who's giving them the answers to the coming out of that person's mouth seem impossible, like an impossibility, so impossible that you're just, being an idiot. God, I'm trying to talk serious stuff and this is where you talk about it's, if you probably heard conversations like that between two people. And it's like, it's because these people are in totally different books, let alone on different pages. You know what I mean? They were never going to be able to bridge that conversational gap. Yeah, I've been in so many fucking conversations with people where I'm like, and we hit the gap. Okay, so now I have to narrate for both people in order to avoid collision. Yeah. Anyways, oh wow, man, I feel like my thoughts are all over the place. Okay, so CERN, yeah, what does it mean? I don't know what that means. I just wanted to throw that out there for you all because it was a big thing, and I do have an interest in tracking the Schumann resonance, or at least that crowd and that community, and see what they're saying about how it's been impacting them since it's been off. Because I'm sure they'll probably have a lot to say about it, you know, um, and that would be cool to find out. You know what I mean? It's like, ooh, they turned it off and life gets better for everybody. Great. Ooh, they turned it off and life gets worse. Life is already kind of absurdly strange. You know what I mean? Like dark ages, dark times. You know what I mean? Like, either everything's going to end and it's all terrible, or it doesn't. There you go. No point in kind of getting stuck in one or the other. That's how I feel about that sort of stuff. So, I say all that to say, be mindful of all of the fear baiting. Oh, this thing's happening. The people, they're coming to get you. No, they're not. They probably don't think about you at all, because they can't. They are deeply, deeply, deeply programmed, just like everybody else. You know what I mean? Okay, so tarot readings for planetary thresholds. Oh, I mentioned that, didn't I? Oh, bridging the gap. That was what I was talking about. Kind of. Anyways, yeah, I started doing tarot readings. Absolutely fucking love it for doing the planetary energies. It's so much fun. All I did was just conjure up the energy and then kind of like see what's in the energy and, do it through narrative story, and then boom, there it is. And I think it's so cool. I don't know. I'm having a lot of fun doing that. I'll probably start adding some things that come up, if anything comes up for me, on the screen in text. I haven't done that in forever. Another reader was talking about it. She was like, people, if don't try to simplify your tarot readings. You go ahead and add your angel numbers. And I was like, dang, somebody, I was like, who's been going around being like, take it off the screen? Yeah, I don't think anybody was going around crazy like that. I think it's probably just like a aesthetic that's being adapted and a trend that usually happens when things become appropriative. But anyways, yeah, that inspired me. That was another inspiration where I was like, I should really start, picking up on all that iconography and putting it in the videos too, to see what comes up and mark it down and then add it as, because like it's a threshold energy. So threshold, when I do the readings are going to be for threshold. So I'll do one every time the moon goes into a different sign. Perhaps I'll try. I'm really working on it. It's every 2 days. It's not that bad. Oh, but anyways, I'm probably doing it for the moon and like every time a planet crosses a threshold, because it's really loud when it does that. It's really loud, And when it's really loud, it's really nice to be like, okay, what can we expect? And it's like this, boom, doom, 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 doom. And it's like, ooh, let me write that down. But because it's loud, it takes a bit of time coming in where it's like, it's really loud. I'm here. And then it goes into the house. You know what I mean? So it's like that. It's a crescendo. So there's usually a lot of signs and synchronicities that pop up as like I'm crescendoing, and then once that like kind of denouement, as like we move into that energy, and sometimes those signs can be really juicy, like right before the energies, like it seems like they're slipping out the door, but what it is that they're crossing into the house specifically. So it's like the changing of the robe. So it's like catching the planet. It's like catching him in the changing room, I'm just the weirdo in the fucking changing room. Like, hey, I'm so glad I could catch you really quick before you got through. Oh, man, that makes me feel like I'm being made fun of. But anyways, but yeah, it's been a lot of fun so far. I really enjoyed it. Yeah. Let me see. Capricorn full moon. So segueing into that, it's been a huge, massive energy. I don't know how to explain it to people. Please just practice. Do the thing. Oh, I know exactly how to explain it to you. Habits. Okay. Let me see. Did I write this down anywhere? Where did I write this down? Oh, I wrote it down right here. Habits, weeks, and journaling. So, I've been kind of reorganizing my mind on this, and so this is where it comes from. Is a lot of like experimentation on my end, but if you really need a schedule and a way to kind of make you feel like you're um maintaining and secure, and you have like a routine going, you want to start building a routine, but you don't want to get to the place where you're controlling and you're trying to schedule everything and control time. No, 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 no. You just want a routine. Focus on habits. Focus on completing said habits within the week and keeping track of that. Now, all of you who do all of you who do travelers journals and stuff like that, you all are going to be like, excuse me. We've been saying this for decades. Yes, I know. I absolutely love. Is the child okay? Is he whimpering in there? I can't tell what he's doing. I just know that he's having a day. He's playing his game, and so he's probably not winning. But anyways, if you have a traveler's journal, you probably, or you journal an awful lot in a type of like bullet, what did we used to call it? Bujo. If you used to do any bujoing, okay, all you bujoers, raise your hand. You know what I mean? Bujoer in the house, bujoer in the house. I recently got gifted a tiny Jesus. Oh my god, maybe that was for you, Jamal. Whatever I said when I said that. Oh, that made tiny Jesus happy. I just made it Jesus. Yeah. Oh my goodness. Huh. Maybe your life's about to get that much more happier. That's so funny. But I'm just laughing because it was so odd. Who gave you a baby Jesus? You don't have to tell me. Just is the oddest gift. Only to me under my circumstances. That's why I find it funny. Okay, so what was I saying? Bujos. All you Bujoers, raise your hand. Bujo is a bullet journal. This is where people, oh man, I loved my Bujo back in the fucking day. This got me into doing layouts, okay? And my layouts are, I just like empty flat space and I'm just going to fill it the way that I want to fill it, how I got to fill it. And I just fill it with words, pictures, and shit like that. Like, look at this is today. Oh, I like to draw and shit like that. But I do them all the time for all sorts of things. Oh my god, this is the write up today for, this is like my teacher's one. I do a lot of notes and stuff like that and keep track of things. Look at what it looked like in the beginning. Oh my god, see? Like, I just like to do all sorts of things. See, it was old. This was back from 2020. I had so much stuff in here. And I randomly stopped. And then when I picked it up again, I was like, whoa. Because I picked it up and it answered a question. That's what I'm saying, people. Just write your shit down. Just don't care. Don't make it. Just return to writing all the time. Even if you leave things empty, you leave things half finished, don't worry about it. And don't worry about not writing in something because it's been half finished. Just like if you need some space, go to that half finished thing. I'm telling you, it's like witchcraft. Okay? There have been so many times where I picked up something only to be like, and it's like, and all of the time gaps are like absolutely strangely perfectly timed throughout. Like, it's like, anyways, the point that I'm making is that journaling is great. One, but two, journaling is just a helpful way of keeping track of what you're doing, as in, how did it make you feel? Okay. I like the Traveler's Journal right now so much simply because I take this with me all the I sound just like the the stationary influencers. I'm sorry, I got to put this down now. No. Guys, you want to journal with me? No, you guys have no idea how much of that content I consume. I was like, I will never make content here because I love it there. So I don't like to make content in places that I like to spend time, and I love spending time in people's journals. Oh my god. The stuff that people do, you know what I mean? Oh, maybe it's a healthy, anyways. Let me get off my own issues. Anyways, I love doing the Traveler's Notebook right now, simply because I can take it everywhere. When I'm watching a movie, I just have it out with me. When I'm in the living room, if I'm gonna go somewhere, I'm gonna take it. I can throw it in my purse. It's really easy. This would be the thing I use on the plane for sure. This for sure is the only notebook that I'm traveling with if I'm traveling. I would not take my other journal. I would just this, and you can take out these smaller inserts and stuff and put other things in. Like, I might take one of my language ones out, just take one language one if I'm doing that while I'm going somewhere. I take out my teaching one, you know what I mean? I take my like daily one. I take oh my god, I take like a little art doodling one. You know what I mean? Oh god, I'm getting somebody asked me to go somewhere. I need a reason to get on a plane. Oh, but also give me like 50 G's so I don't have to sit next to anybody. Anyways, anybody answering wishes? That was really pointed and put out there specifically, and I think I had an extra one. But back to the topic at hand. It's so helpful because when you take it everywhere, you literally do something. If you're reading, when you're done with a chapter or something that stops you and makes you think, write down the thoughts. Even if it's just the quote, write down the quote. Even if you're like, this made me sad. Write, the title of the book, the page number, and this made me sad. You don't even need to give context. It's your fucking journal. No one else is going to read it. You know what I mean? You can make it not make any sense. It can make all the sense. Sure, looking back on something, the easier it is to understand, the more like of an experience you have. But who knows? Sometimes cryptic shit is fun too. The point is just to write it down. Are you watching a movie? Write down your thoughts as you watch. Man, I got so many fucking cool tidbits from this Korean drama that I can't fucking stand. Oh man, the characters are driving me up a fucking wall. I'm just like, can we end this now? But I got so many good thoughts from it. You'd think that like somebody's like making me watch it. Nope. It's all me. Oh, I watched Death Race 2000. I gave that 2 stars. That was really fucking weird. I think it was from 1975, and Yeah. Yeah, it was weird. It was I have thoughts. But yeah, this other one, what was it? Ugh. Oh, it gave me a great idea. Oh, I guess I might as well tell you guys then, since I was brought to it. I was going to just not say anything. Oh, here we go, here we go. Okay. So it gave me this thought. This character, she's like, oh, it's like my fairy godmother or something. She makes a joke about something. And the joke, I was like, that's a little too obvious. Wow. And I said something out loud about fairy godmothers. My son was sitting next to me at the time. And he goes, oh, except for they also have to have a card. And I was like, a card? I'm like, what are you even talking about, broski? Like, what's going on here? And he's like, a card, like in that one movie with the green guy. And I was like, what fucking movie with the green guy? And he's like, a card, and then you use it to call her. And I was like, oh, Shrek. And he's like, yeah. And I thought about it. And I was like, oh, yeah, the fairy. He's like, yeah, it says one wish equals one tear equals one wish. I cry on it, and then she pops up to grant your wish. And I was like, it would be really cool. So I made one. I just took a note card and I made one tear equal one wish, and then I put on it your fairy godmother. And every time I cry on the card, and I collect wishes, and then I write them down in my journal. So hold on. And so far they've all come true. That's not even the tier on the cake, the top, the cherry on top. You all remember. Oh, maybe this is the last thing I mention, and then we'll get into the FAQ. You all remember I told you it was a little while ago. I was wearing this one I was wearing this one, like, like inside moo that I have it's really fucking comfortable and I love it. It's hot pink, but it has these crazy fucking strawberries on it, so it makes me look like I'm like from a nut house, you know what I mean? Like this is really the gown, you know what I mean? That's really just selling. I've maybe need grippy socks or something, because it really just looks like that. But it looks like, the hospital gowns. I can't stand it. They always make me feel like I'm insane. Every hospital I've ever gone to that has those little gowns with the big things on it, I'm always like, guys, because nobody looks great in the hospital. Anyways, you guys can tell I care an awful lot about the quality of my attire. But anyways, it's really comfy, but it does remind me of that whole spiel that I always go on anytime I'm put into a hospital gown of any kind. Because I'm like, this is a hospital, people, not an asylum. Like, can we get some better clothes, please? And like, and that's concerning enough. Nobody should ever have to wear this. Anyways. So I got something that looked like that, of course. Anyway, so one time, I have some neighbors, and I had to go downstairs because I didn't like some of the sounds that I heard, in response to a child crying. And so I went down there and, I banged on the door and everything. And I was like, huh. And it really sells it. The guy probably thought she is crazy because she came downstairs dressed like that. Because, I went downstairs and I was yelling at him. And I was like, hey, I'm not going to rehash it because it raised my stress levels. I was very angry for quite some time. Anyways, so I was wearing that the same day same day I started making lots of wishes. I had a very spontaneous cry. So I collected it on my little note card. And then I started writing down all of my things. And then all of a sudden, the day just started to unfold a little differently. And as I'm going, we were headed outside to go do something that we normally don't ever do. And this little old lady drives up in this van, and there's a sticker on the back. I can't really tell what it is. But then she gets out. She's got this little tote bag, and she looks like this grandma. And, she's got like this little blue sweater and this like very cute, put together, pristine outfit. And she starts approaching, and I was like, huh. And she's like headed like towards my direction. So I was like, oh, by chance are you headed to? And I just mentioned my address. And she goes, oh no. And then she says the address of the neighbor that I like went over, and I was like bang, bang, bang on the door and stuff. And in my mind, I kept thinking she seems like a social worker. So I was like, they're getting the help that they need, which is good because obviously, like, I think they may be first time parents or something. And it's good to like get some like help and some aid. They sent over an old grandma to like, probably help teach and like facilitate and this, that, and the other, which is why social services is extremely important and is not social services has never been they go because there are problems. It's supposed to be preventative. You go to educate and to take care of. You get what I mean? Like it's anyways. I think this was a good example of it. And so I was wearing that outfit, and right before I had put it on, I was thinking that the night before I had put it on, and I was thinking, oh, geez, I don't want to go outside in this. Like, I was like, last time I was outside in this, I was, downstairs. Like, it was a negative experience. So in that moment, like, and I found out that, like, essentially, something that I had hoped for turned out well. I got confirmation of that. But then also, it was like the curse was lifted off of my little nightie, I was like, yay! And then but then what was funny is on the back of the car, I looked at it and it was like a little blue fairy decal. Yeah. 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 So confirmation. You try that experiment. You know what I mean? I tried collecting my kids' tears, but I don't think it works that way. I don't think it works that way. Yeah, no. He was crying. He was like, "You squeezed me too hard," and then he started crying, and I was like, "Hey, I didn't squeeze you that hard, first of all, and second of all, you're gonna cry. Come on, you're too old for this." But anyways, and then I was like, "Well, since told him I'm gonna go collect your tears. I got a new card," and then I was like, "Oh my god, I feel like those crazy wicked witches right now, collecting the children's tears." Yeah, and then I was like, it spoiled it now. I can't collect children's tears. It seems like like it taints it. These have to be pure. And then my husband suggested, he's like, "You should watch Graveyard of the Fireflies. Let's go." And I was like, I said pure. I was like, absolutely not. I'm not torturing myself to make myself cry. That's crazy. Plus, I realized I cry enough. I watched a TikTok, and I don't know. I think it was just about a bird or something like that. I don't know what it was. When you just watch one of the animal TikToks on, and then you just start crying because it's like, oh, geez. Oh, no, it was this one guy telling, God. See, yeah, all I got to do is listen to a story about an emotional situation, and next thing I know, I'm sobbing. So I suggest you all do that. It also encourages you to feel joy about your crying and just have fun with it. I really no, it's not special. It's just a note card. I'll show you the kind of I got these little flashcards. I did because I do kanji. I was doing kanji on them with paint pens, and that was like it was a commitment to studying. Ooh, this looks cute for some reason. I just put my note card in the back there. But it was my commitment to study. So maybe that's why it was special to me, but I don't think it needs to be special. I think the point of doing it makes it special. It's so whimsical too. It's just such a little whimsical thing to do. And yeah, so far everything has worked out really well. Yeah, so it's real. I mean, like, and when I say so far, I mean like the blue fairy showed up. Oh, you know what it was? My husband, he was like, "Yeah, she's this lady. She kind of reminded me of the little blue fairy," and I was like, "Oh," and then the blue fairy showed up somewhere else too. Yeah, yeah, we were talking about it again, and I was on TikTok, and then I scrolled the next video. The girl was coloring a blue fairy. I was like, "Whoa!" And it was like an old lady, like the godmother, the fairy godmother. A little old, like an old lady, just with the big old blue fairy dress. I was like, oh, we're like kids. It's like Stranger Things when that happens. Ooh, wow, wow. You got to live life like that. Make it like really. The more silly and spontaneous, the more in cahoots you are with the universe. It's fun. You know what I mean? You can do it with anything. Because the truth is, okay, guys, the truth is, it's not that the note card imbues anything special. I'm just actually like, I'm just, I'm practicing the truth, right? We know that tears are powerful. You know that tears grant wishes. You know that media has new creative ways of expressing that, and so that's just a funny like way of of believing in magic, right? Just hearing a kid be like, "Yeah, you need a card from Shrek," and then I just make one and just cry on it and be like, "It's good enough." And when you were a kid, you didn't go out and get like the most fittest, best materials to do whatever the fuck you were up to. You just got whatever you had and did with whatever you had, and that's what made it beautiful. I do I have a Venus Mercury? What do you mean? Like a Venus Mercury conjunction? I, funny enough, have a Venus and Mercury in Taurus. So that's kind of like having a Venus Mercury. Okay. So now I need to get us started. Get us started on a trip to the alphabet. Okay, let me open up the forums. You guys will not be surprised to find out that I do not have any of that pulled up at all. This is happening live on K106.7. Douchey. I don't know what I'm doing, guys. I'm sorry. I'm just having fun at this point. 23, maybe. Let me see. Let me see. Oh. Okay. I'm trying to look and find where we are. Huh. Oh. This question, what is my purpose on this earth? How can I answer that? But we'll try. We won't be able to answer that, but we will be able to give them the tools to answer that question, right? Always think of yourself as, oh my goodness, you know the best analogy for this? So, a lot of you know I used to work at Radio Shack when I was in college. And so I didn't do any repair stuff or anything like that. Okay. But sometimes people brought in random shit all the time. People brought in random stuff, just random things. And they'd be like, how do I fix this? And so either one, I would call my at the time boyfriend, now husband. I'd be like, somebody brought this in. What do we do? I'd be like, are you busy? And if he was busy, I would have to figure out how we're going to do this. Because, you know, Google existed for sure, but this was like back in the day when Google was still pretty dry. Okay. So people brought in stuff all the time, just random things, and you have to treat everything as its own. Back like analog stuff, different brands, all of that. You had to treat everything as its own thing because man, it's hard to explain, but like it seems like there was a lot more individuality, is that the right word? Individuation, diversification, maybe, of parts that a thing is made up of, right? So just because this VCR uses these parts doesn't mean that this VCR uses these parts exactly either. Meaning that sometimes the cables are different depending on the VCR, when somebody got it, what model it is. Why? Because back in the day, people used to design stuff and, oh God, you know, like you hope that people use industry standards or create an industry standard, because then it makes it easy to fix, repair, and or find parts and pieces for the thing that you have when it invariably breaks, right? Invariably? Yes, breaks. So then things become more standard. But back in the day, things weren't so standard. So you had to treat everything. So I really want you all to think of yourselves as like non-standard. You get what I mean? Like you are made up of many different parts and pieces. All right, like even my kids are made up of like a lot of parts and pieces that make up both me and my husband, right? But there is no way whatsoever, no way, no how, that we know all the parts and pieces that make them that make up them. Get what I mean? Like I just don't. There's no way. I know a good majority. I know like a lot of. You know what? I'm gonna kill the Zoom. There. I don't think. I hope to God we don't have a recording issue. But I'm gonna trust it. End meeting for all. Nobody's there. It's fine. Okay. Zoom, you don't need to convert. Stop converting. You're good. You're good. Just go to bed, girl. Go to bed. Stop. Thank you. Now get. I'm just kidding. That's so fucked up. It's just like popping up. Okay. Let me see. I'm gonna bring you over here. It's fucking A. Listening to me organize my screens is a whole thing, I bet. All right. Oh, I just noticed the I'm a server and the kids left it with the tip. Oh, some kids left you baby Jesus with the tip. That's a little damn. I'd have been like, well, thanks. Jesus would have said, you know, whatever. Thanks for Jesus. But look, they left that for you, and then you know, it granted you a little bit of positivity. So I would say that it is sanctified now. That little baby Jesus bringing you luck. Availabilism is such a great art manifestation tool, and for me, a key root in magic. Availabilism? Ooh, what do you mean by that? I feel like I know what you're talking about, but I just want to know that I really know what you're talking about, because availabilism. Why is my tongue not working now? The propriety parts was such a PITA back in the days of hardware. I don't know what that means, the acronym PITA. But yeah. I just remember the parts store. We were always in the parts store. Oh, yeah, but think of yourselves as a diversity of parts. You are made up of so many different aspects, so many different ideas, belief systems, all sorts of things, up and down, left and right. You can get something if you need it. Just hurry up. All things left and right. You know what I mean? And you're different than other people are. Oh my God, let me hide the child. Oh God, you're on the screen. Don't look. Now the AI knows what you look like. Oh no, my baby. Hopefully I shamed him into like better preparing for next time. Um anyways, what was I saying? This is why I tell them to go. I get so distracted. I start making jokes. Okay. Where was I? Pain in the ass. Oh, yeah. Oh, God. Especially then you have to help people order parts. Availabilism. Say you need a wand, but you just find a stick. Now you have a wand. Ooh, yeah. Or say you want or need something for an art project, and then the inspiration or subject appears. Availabilism. Yeah, I like that term. I'm going to write that down, actually. Because oh my God, I'm spelling it wrong. Why? No, I'm not. Lism. Here we go. Availabilism. Boom. Because it's so true. Take what you have when you have it. Like that's all you need. That is all you need. Where you were imbuing magic in a thing, do it with cheap stuff. Don't do it with, and by cheap I don't mean like oh I'm looking for something of little or no value. I mean like do it with readily available, easy to gather for you. Okay, it's readily available and it's easy for me to gather. So if I need to smudge or burn something, cleanse something, let me find the easiest available, easy for me to gather, and easy for me to consume without it being a problem. And easy also means like it's easy for me to get rid of. It's easy for me to be a part of, right? Like it's easier overall. It fits my life. It's right there. It's right within arm's reach. I don't have to bend over backwards. That sort of thing. Always do that, yeah. Because the what it is, I'm telling you, oh man. There's something that happened to me when I got older and realized that jewels weren't more shinier and like the more perfect they were. I was like, all of this shit looks like costume jewelry. Like, you know what I mean? Like at a certain point, a stone just becomes whatever the fuck you like that it looks like. Like, you know, like you could get a glass one and it looks really great because it reminds you of like the fucking ruby from Aladdin. And you can get an actual ruby and it looks, you know, lackluster because it's a ruby. You know what I mean? And it just doesn't sparkle for you. But for somebody else, it's like the perfect density. You know what I mean? Like at a certain like I felt so robbed of life when I realized that everything I thought would be beautiful looked just like everything looks like costume jewelry because everything is a costume. And I was like, now, of course, there's different quality and stuff like that. But it really, again, all of that really matters towards you and what's within your availability. What's in your availability, you know a lot more about. So it's easier for you to find pure and at its most potent source. But when it's not really available for you, you don't know the difference between high quality and low quality. So you go based off of either what everybody else is saying or your personal preference, right? So do what is easy and available to you. Availabilism. Boom. Yes. There was an artist magician, Kimbra Falfler, who introduced it to me. Availabilism. Ooh, I don't know how to say that last word. Faller. Failure? That's an interesting word. Okay. Yes. So what was I saying? Oh yeah. So when you use what is available to you, that was about the other thing. When you see yourself as very diverse and the makeup of who you are and stuff like that, then all you need to do is create the manual. You create the user manual. You're not looking for it outside. You are making it in real time. The user manual. You're making it in real time. And because you made it, it's like Loki season 2, or is it season 1, where we meet the guy that wrote the manual to all of the to the what do they call it? The time jumper manual or something, to all the worlds. It's like that when you write it, there's some things you're going to go back to and look for and stuff, and you will consistently refine and rework those things. The things that you never go back to, you never look for it, you only needed to write it once because you were building off of it ever after. And so the book, the manual, is always changing. That's why witches had grimoires and stuff, and like the later ones, the lasting ones, when like the witch is old and she passes on the oldest version of it, is the best version because it's the most refined. She's gotten rid of all the bullshit, all the stuff that didn't work out. And people go, there's no hexes in here. And it's like, yeah, I got rid of all the bullshit. I'm going to go find a woman who's going to show me a thing or two. And then they enter into a world full of drama. I'm learning things. It's like you're learning how to make yourself miserable. But by all means, you know what I mean? Like, go ahead and do whatever you gotta do. Or, like, sometimes we have to do that about some things. Some things aren't in the grimoire. Some things you gotta go figure out on your own, right? But you like the old stuff, the stuff that someone gives you at the end, because it has all of the wisdom packed into it. What was left out for a reason. What was included was included for a reason. What was needed often, right? Anyways, it goes into a lot of things. But yeah, so we'll try to answer that question. Oh, I got to do the power animals. And then we're going to get started on this question. I'll read it to you guys. You won't be able to see it, but you will be able to watch the replay. And also, yes, the replays. I will be sending out a roundup of all of the stuff that I upload here very soon. I am backlogged yet again. But all of that will be coming out this week. I think I'm going to try to start doing the uploads by the next Wednesday. So that way there's a roundup of things, because like now, man, I hate sending out 1,000 emails. I'm that person that's like, if I don't have to send you multiple emails, I will wait until the end of the day and send you like everything all at once. If it's a lot, you know what I mean? If it's some small shit here and there, like, anyways, now I'm talking about like work stuff. But anyways, I like to send, I don't like sending out a bunch of shit all at once. I like, back to back. So I like one email a week if I'm going to send you something a week. You know what I mean? And it should have all the things that I have posted, because I can post things without them going out to your email. So I'm navigating that right now. Right now we have Moose Authority. You know what is best for you. Oh, man, I'm going to take that for sure. And at the bottom here, I was going to move it. Links, discernment, look beyond immediate appearances. Ooh, I almost, like, this was at the bottom and I started shuffling And I almost said, you know, I'll just do something new. But then I was like, no. Let me put the card that was on the bottom back at the bottom. And he looks kind of crazy. I'm not going to fucking lie to you guys. You know, he's looking a little strange. Look beyond immediate appearances. Okay, that's at the bottom here. And then moose is going to be at the top. So these are our animals that we're working with. Before we start, oopsie, let me go ahead and record. Oh. No, maybe no. Downloads. Not deleted. What? Hold on, y'all. Trying to see if I can. No, I can't. That's fine. Gotta pull up the PDF really quick. And I'm going to drop that link also in the copy and the chat here. Paste just in case anybody needs it. If you're at home on TikTok, Patreon has everything. Please join. It is free to join. Classes, of course, if you want to take classes, that's $10 a month for access to all of them. You can purchase them separately if you want. But the PDF and everything that I do here, all of that's for free. The replays on things are free. Discussion is behind paywall with those who do classes. And that's for book club, but the lecture on book club is free. Our art club, that's kind of like a everybody thing is happening, you know what I mean? Why has this not opened? Oh, there we go. I'm sitting here like I'm doing all this schmoozing. Come on. Okay, there we go. Ooh, something smells so good. Oh, okay. Let that. Smells so good. Okay, it's lasagna. I wanted lasagna so bad, so here we are. I'm smelling it now. Ooh, I can't wait to get some. Okay, let me see. Pause. Okay, there we go. Camera. There we go. This camera. There we go. All right. Record. Yes. No, not the whole screen. Just the window. Boom. Fuck. What window? Jesus fucking Christ. No. This one? No, not that one. This one. There we go. Jeez, guys. So many different things going on. All right, there we go. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to our student FAQ. Okay, so I had just done a pool. We had Moose, Authority. You know what's best for you. And Lynx, Discernment. Look beyond immediate appearances. These are our 2 cards. So the Lynx is at the bottom. This is kind of at the bottom is like, what is something in the background? So if there's a lesson to learn, it's going to probably be a lesson in discernment. If there's something that's guiding you all the time, it's probably the Moose, Authority. So if you feel like you are in a place of authority, or you feel like you are constantly being asked to take the authority, or you're constantly being challenged by authority, this is a guide. You know what's best for you. That's probably like make sure you are holding your own center and making the choices to either follow or lead based off of your center, right? And then at the bottom, Lynx, Discernment. This would be the underlying lesson, more than likely. So the question of the day is, what is my purpose on this earth? Now, I had laughed before I started recording this, for everybody who is in the live class, because I was like, I can't answer that. That's not my, what do you mean? I don't know. But I can help you get the tools so that you can answer it. right? So the what is my purpose on earth? I was explaining to everybody, you want to look at yourself as you are very diverse. You're very diverse. You are so different from the next person because you have very specific lived experiences. Even people who live in your house. So if you have siblings, you're still very different from them because everything about your life is different because it's your life. It's you, it's your consciousness and your vessel. No one else can experience that, which also means you can't experience someone else's. So that's why we live on a shared reality that we interact on. And that's why we build communication skills and all that kind of stuff so that we can better improve and have clear interaction about things. But the shared plane is the reality of what is, right? And then we have our perspectives about what that experience is. So that makes you a very, very complex human being, which means you are the one who builds the owner manual. Nobody else does. You know how normally people are like, life, it doesn't come with a manual. Yeah, that's because it's your life. So you have to make that manual. I was telling everybody, and I was sounding earlier like I was running a stationary channel. I was like, I take this everywhere with me. My Bujo, my traveler's journal. I love it. I did make a video not too long ago, and this is going to be an important part to the answer of this question. But I did make a video not too long ago about the different types of journals that there are and the types of one that I have. I have a daily journal. I do a lot of big stuff in there. So big feelings in the morning if I journal in the morning, and then if I journal in the evening. And that just means in the morning before I get out of bed and do all my major stuff. So I've like peed and stuff. I'm probably talking to my husband and stuff like that. But before I'm like out of bed and in the wake of life, like I'm like, okay, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, I'm going to, before I do that, I just open up my journal and I just write as much as I can about like what I feel. If I had dreams, I just write that down. If I'm feeling totally out of my body and like I need to hurry the fuck up and get up and go do something, I write that down. And then I ask myself, how do I feel about that? You know what I mean? Just like that. And then right before I go to bed, I generally just throw out my journal and then like, is there anything major? And like, guys, when you practice this a lot, it just comes up where you're like, ooh, I want to capture this. This is something I want to capture. So you get used to that, right? So I just jot stuff down. Generally speaking, and the artist way and the creative awakening is something that I would recommend. I have that as a class. It's about 3 months. Do one class a week, please, and do all of the practical activities. The only requirement is that you are willing and that you do the work. You must do the practice. And in the first 30 days, you will notice a massive change. You will notice those things simply because you have brought your attention to them to notice. That's it. So it's like yes, it's magic, but it's also not magic. It's not like witchcraft. And yes, it is witchcraft. You're just bringing your attention to it, and so it becomes obvious and aware. This happens to everybody all the time, and it's kind of funny. Because I was just mentioning, I get emails. I get emails from people every now and again, and they're like, "You were right," and it's like, "Yes, I know. I wasn't." Like, yes, obviously, I know. I'm the one with the information. I know it was only you who doubted. And I knew, and you don't have to admit your doubts. It's okay. I know for both of us, it's like if I work at the grocery store and I tell you that the price of eggs has not changed for the last month, but you're so sure it has. You just know this, that. So then you go to the grocery store and you demand to see the price on eggs, and then you check everything and you go, "You were right." Yeah, I know. I work here. It's not a competition. I just have information you didn't have. I was not in doubt. And I also was not losing sleep. Anyways, so so do the practical, practical things. That's just building you and getting you into the habit, which I was mentioning earlier on the live. Gets you into the habit so that you are doing stuff, you are checking in with yourself, constantly checking in with yourself, and also you're offloading information. And being in that habit of check in with myself, offload information, is a lot of like regulation. Okay, especially mental regulation. You have to offload things. And emotional regulation, when you can identify it with language how you feel, and you try to identify how you feel, that speaks volumes to your own body. Because when you try to write how you feel and it's not good enough, what do? You start perking up your ears to things that you wish you could do. You'll hear somebody describe something like, I wish I could. Great, then just write down those words. That's not going to change anything. No, it will, because you will have at least written it down. That is change. Not doing anything actually constitutes no change. But writing it down is the vibrational ripple that starts the change. But you got to start it. So write it down. Make that's now part of your vocabulary. Now, how often you use it and whether it comes up over and over again, I don't fucking know. That's how like often are you pissed? Maybe what you wrote down was, pissed or the like I don't know, like madder than a motherfucker, and you were like, that's really colorful. You know, like how often are you madder than a motherfucker? Then maybe it's not going to come up often, but maybe when it does, you'll be like, huh, and I know the word. You know what I mean? And that's how language changes. You know, whether the language is highbrow diction, dismay. That was on a vocabulary quiz today. Spelling, not necessarily definitions. Dismay. She was dismayed at the news. I was doing that today. But yeah, you know, like you just use it and it happens, or you lose it and it doesn't bother you at all, because if you cared, you wouldn't have lost it. You would still remember it because you would use it all the time. It's like that. So just write stuff down. What else was I saying about the journal? For the artist way. Yeah, so that's covered a lot in the artist way. Now, is that going to help you decide your purpose on the earth? I mean, if that's the intent and focus of your attention, you will discover that if whatever you set your intention to, your like attention, what are you thinking about? What are you consuming? What are you interested in? You learn about that thing, and then you become like whatever you become when you consume that thing. And so you will become it because you were consuming it. It's just, what is it that you will become? Well, that's why you journal. You will start to pay attention and you will notice. And then you can make refinements along the way if you decide that you're not actually really satisfied with something. Just because it's, you know, like for instance, let's say you want to make content on the internet and you start making video game content because it's what you enjoy doing and you really like playing video games, this, that, and the other. But then you're like, well, what's my purpose in life? It couldn't be fucking playing video games. That's, you know, that's, if it was, then I would feel fulfilled, this, that, and the other. So then you decide to do a whole bunch of spirituality stuff and you start making spirituality content. And then all of a sudden you're just like, feeling burnt out and tired and you just hate everything, and then you throw it all away and you go, fuck it, and you're just like, you know what, you know, I know that playing video games is a waste of time, whatever, I'm just gonna do it because that's what makes me happy. And then you start playing video games, but you start actually playing the things that just, and doing the things that make you happy. Before, when you were trying to make content, you stayed on what was popular, you talked about what everybody else was talking about, X, Y, and Z. But now, because you're so pissed off at the entire world forcing you to do something and making you hate video games and thinking that video games aren't spiritual, this, that, and the other, but you finally came back to yourself. Now you just do the ones that you like to do, and your content maybe like inspires many people, and you get much, like, you start talking about certain issues or certain not issues but highlights in different community cultures, and now everybody comes to you to really like come together as a community around video games. I don't fucking know, I'm trying to make it wholesome, you get the point. But the point is like, your purpose on the earth isn't necessarily something that looks purposeful. It's whatever it is that you do that you enjoy. God dang. But it's your ability to navigate that, right? Like, you can enjoy being a villain and being terrible and making everything horrible and dying some melodramatic life. This is like a car honking, so maybe it's not the best choice, right? You can be like, that's what I want to do. And that's what you just set your sights to. And you can see people who do that. Their lives look miserable to us who don't like that. You know what I mean? To them, everything is dramatic. Everything is an intensity. Like they're living life on stress plus. But to them, it's super intense. It's emotionally charged. It's stuff you just can't handle, right? You know what I mean? To you, it may seem like a fucking heart attack waiting to happen. Misery. Misery's business. I know that's what that looks like to me. But these are people living based on what they want out of life, making the choices that they want. And that's your purpose, is to make the choices that you want. But in order first, just to like, sometimes in order to do that, you need to stop and actually pay attention to what it is that you want to do. And sometimes that makes you backtrack for a little bit, where you're walking out of what you were in and towards something else. And sometimes you just bloop bloop, you drop right into it. You know what I mean? And you have the choice to like embrace it, embrace the fall and have fun and see all the bright sides while it's happening, or you like experience it as a nightmare and then you wake up on the other side and you're like, I have a testimonial. You know what I mean? Either way, everybody experiences things based off of what they can kind of hold their capacity. My job is just to let you know that there are a lot of options out there and how to best go about applying tools that of consciousness that help you access those other options should you want them, because I don't know what the options are. Everybody's life is different, but to be able to spot opportunities and to be able to say, is this something that brings me joy, or is this something that reminds me of people I hate? You know what I mean? Like in the moment, something makes a lot of money, something makes a lot of money, but this is a lot of money and I don't really know what happens afterwards. This is a lot of money and it looks like security because it comes with like a contract or a timeline or expectations and all this other stuff that I'm fantasizing and patterning out. You know what I'm saying? Like sometimes that's what it just looks like. Option A, option B. Option B has a fantasy attached to it. Option A seems like it just doesn't have that extra shine. How do I know which one actually brings me joy? Which one reminds me of the people that I hate? You know what I mean? Because right now, all I can think of is how the people that I hate would absolutely die to see me get this thing B that's kind of shiny and it looks long term and it looks great. They would absolutely die because it's what they wanted. And this one, option A, they would. What am I thinking about right now? I'm thinking about how people who I don't even like are considering this rather than how I feel, what I think. So when you're in your own energy, it becomes really easy whether A or B is the option for you, because one of them propels you forward in towards like a higher vibration, meaning a higher feeling, not necessarily a fantasy. Sometimes fantasies are you patterning out stuff based off of feelings, residual feelings that you have. So like the people that you can't stand and they can't stand you or something like that. Those are residual feelings. You guys aren't around each other anymore. But the residual feelings have you looking at option A and option B through residual feelings and your energy. And you need to be able to look at these things just through your energy. So how do you navigate having residual feelings? Is that the time for making decisions? Can you recognize when you're sitting with residual feelings versus just your own? Those are the tools that um that I can help you those are the tools that I can teach you, right? But I can't tell you what your purpose is on earth. I can just give you the tools so that you can navigate that. So let's scroll down because I think there's some more questions. The reason why I really did want to do this question is somebody had asked this not too long ago. I think it was in my comment section or something. Sorry, everybody. I think everybody can see me drinking. I just went to pause. Sorry, hold on. Okay. Yeah, I think it was in my comment section. Somebody was asking about life purpose and stuff. Okay. I'm trying to figure out my purpose on this earth. Currently, I know that means career, but I feel called to something that may not exist yet. None of who I am seems to fit anywhere. I just know that I deeply desire digging for truth, however that looks. What have you already tried? I have tried many jobs. I feel so drained by the performance required to maintain most of them. I am always researching and writing notes on things, so I'm called to writing. I have endless ideas for stories I never write. I'm picking up gothic vibes for some reason. It's interesting. It's not quite gothic in the sense of like the frills. It's more like gothic in the sense of ooh, like Dexter, which is an interesting thing to say. And that might not necessarily have anything to do with the student, but it's in the energy, not necessarily their energy. What feels confusing, blocked, or unclear? The path forward. I feel so deeply called to exploring our universe in writing, but when I sit down to write, it suddenly loses its charm. I only come in spurts. It only comes in spurts, in the middle of the night or just randomly, hoping that I'll polish it or revise that long page. The long pages the next day, but I often can't even bring myself to revisit them. I'm laughing because I know where you are. I feel I've tied it to the idea of needing money. You have. So perfectionism and the idea of performance. You have. I feel blocked in the need to survive in this world and the deep knowing that I should be exploring something else. Okay, so you're holding on to the door of don't take your eyes off of being a productive robot, and you're also holding on to your creativity at the same time, and they're going in two totally different directions. So the moose, the authority here, you know what's best for you, right? Go, like, let go of the let go of the performance. Let go. You do not need to entertain. You're trying to entertain while you write. I get that too, so I'll tell you in a minute. And then the discernment here, right? Look beyond immediate appearances. That was at the bottom of the deck. I'm telling you guys. Every time it works. It's at Animal Totem. I love it. Okay. So something I want to say. One is just as a writer to writer, oftentimes, and this is creative energy. So you'll learn this. Let me see. Probably in creative awakening, also in embracing the elements, because you'll be practicing regulation, so that's necessary. Oh, the 12 non-material senses are also necessary for you to recognize your senses. Your non-material ones, there's 12. So the sense of self, desire, thought, feeling, will, magnitude, perception, presence, belief, knowing, vision, and oneness. Those are all senses that you have. You have to put your attention to them to move your consciousness to that space. But sometimes when you're in that sense and you don't know it, like Alice in Wonderland syndrome, where you feel too big or too small in your body, that's your sense of magnitude being like, it's really sensitive. Like sensitivity has expanded it all of a sudden, and you can feel total, you can have a total out of body experiences, all sorts of things. When your sensitivities are like, especially if they're inflamed, the areas that fine tune for those senses. So it's important to know that series is just like 12 videos. They're about 15 minutes each, explaining them. And I use the astrological chart because it matches up really well. To kind of discuss and explain them so you can really get a good picture. But it's important that you know that, because I talk about the senses all the time when I talk about astrology, signs, charts, and planets, which I talk about all the time when I'm talking about your bodies and how your body moves energy and stuff. But embracing the elements teaches you an awful lot about your four bodies. Somebody asked this on TikTok too. You have a water body, so your emotional body, an air body, your mental body, a fire body, your spiritual body, and an earth body, your physical body. And it really goes spiritual, emotional, mental, and physical. Physical, mental, emotional, spiritual. So the energy kind of transforms in that way, so to speak, as things come into like I like to think in it patterns in that way, simply because of how an idea moves. An idea starts as light, and then it's moved, right, by emotion, that's water, and that creates meaning, so that's the mental, the air, right, and then that meaning creates some type of pattern, and the pattern that can be weaved creates some type of material. So that's physical. So generally speaking, that's kind of how energy tends to move. And so when you're aware of that, you can then become aware of what state an idea is in your own body. If you are in some fantastical, far off future, first of all, you're using your vision, your sense of vision. And if you're using it because you were ideating on something that you want, you are now hijacking your natural vision. Like, visions are supposed to come to you. You're supposed to be minding your own business and going as you as you become overcome by like the accumulation of ideas coming at you quickly, creating an image all at once, and then you see it, right, and it strikes you as an inspirational idea.
That's how visions that come across spontaneously are like inspirational ideas. They come from the unknown for the most part. And sometimes when you have really brilliant ideas, stuff that you've been working with that just kind of sinks together all of a sudden, like over time, the pieces necessary kind of fell into place so that you could really understand something. That's a little bit of fire and air. So that's a little bit of like sometimes you as the spirit might give you just a little boost or a little inspiration. You might see something and go, "Wait," and then think about the problem that you have with a new relational or a new analogy, and then all of a sudden it makes sense. I was watching a video about a church covered in scallops over in Spain. It's off the coast of Spain on an island somewhere, and the scallops or the shells that it's covered in was to keep out humidity. And people would go there to the patron saint because he was for skin diseases, right? And so you have to think a scallop exists in a sea. It's like the birth of Venus. It's a birth unto itself. A scallop, its saliva creates its own shell. So it's from the center out. Its skin is the formation of what it is. It can only be itself. It is like a self-fulfilling prophecy, so to speak. And when you think about that, you can think about generally how energy just moves in your body. It's always a self-fulfilling prophecy in one way, shape, or form or the other. So if you can figure out where it is in your body, and if it's in your mental body, um and are there any new thoughts going on here? Are you lost in thought, or are you like running down a rabbit hole of things and considering this and considering that? And you're probably in your mental body rather than like your emotional body, which is where you're just feeling stuff, or your spiritual body where everything is kind of new, strange, flickering, right? Not quite seated yet. You can't quite grasp it yet, or maybe you're just watching something that's flashing by. Um it's important to know which body you're in, because that makes using any type of tools easy. Which astrological system do you use? I just use tropical astrology. I think I don't know which one it is. Um, it's not it's not Whole House. Placidus, I think. There we go. Because it's the most close to it doesn't say just like first house Aries, second house Taurus. It accounts for degree, like where you are. Now sidereal astrology, I was talking about this not too long ago. Sidereal astrology accounts for where the stars and the planets are astrologically in the sky as we speak, whereas tropical astrology equates it based on the equinox and the solstice, so like based on season. So that way, you're always once we hit the equinox and to this solstice, right, or to this equinox or whatever, it's always the same measurement. It's always the same, and that's why it's based off of the day, of that equinox and stuff like that, or that seasonal change, rather than rather than where it is up in the sky. There we go. Jeez, I was trying to figure it out. Now that being said, when it does matter what system you're using, because like what system you're using is going to set the framework for what you do. But it also doesn't really matter what system you use as long as you understand the framework of what you're using it for. So you build frameworks based on what but based on what you're doing. Now your frameworks can be limited because if the system is limited in thought, then your framework will be limited. So that's why like a whole house system where it's like Aries, first house. So if your sun is in Aries, your sun is in the um and the first house of Aries, like regardless of like where it actually, your rising is, wait, no. It does like wherever your rising is starts the house essentially. So if your rising sign is Scorpio, it starts the house and then the next sign is whatever. Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of that. I can't maybe it does that. I don't know. I like don't pay attention to it enough to be able to accurately tell you why I don't like it. But it limited my ability when I was first starting out. So, as long as you are flexible in what you do and you kind of know why you're doing what you're doing, um, then that's what matters more than what you do, if that makes sense. Because what you do followed by why you're doing it. Okay. I feel like I need to be like, oh, that's right. So, I was talking about the body systems, yeah, and being able to move your consciousness around is really important. So, embracing the elements teaches you how to not only do that, but then also what types of activities are necessary to be able to kind of bridge that gap. Like, how do you build body awareness? How do you build mental awareness? How do you build emotional awareness? How do you build spiritual awareness? So, practice the tools that are in there to do that. And then, as you gain that awareness, like when you don't have awareness, you are ignorant. And yes, you are a bumbling idiot in a room that has plenty of lights in it. You're just wearing blinders. I want everybody to hear that, take that to heart and feel however you need to feel about it, and then like move on. That is just a fact that we cannot help. When you lack awareness of something, you are walking around blind. You might be the only one walking around blind. You could be one of 50 people walking around blind. You could be everybody in the room could be walking around blind in a room where everything is lit up, and the only reason why they feel like this is because they have on like glasses that block their awareness of it, right? They don't know it. Um, oh, this is a really good example. I was just talking about this earlier the other day. So, most of you have no idea, but I'm like legally blind in one of my eyes. I hardly notice, honestly. And I think it's probably because it was probably always like this to some degree. Maybe because for me, I see the world very much patterned out as if it's all through like 2020 vision. When I'm looking, I do not experience the deficit of that vision because I don't know the deficit that I would be experiencing. There is no reference point. And so because of that, I'm super sensitive. That's why I'm like highly psychic. I'm super sensitive with sound. Super sensitive in all of my other senses because I use my other senses to like almost mirror out for peripheral vision. And, like, I'm really good with it too. I remember once I was in gym and this volleyball came flying at my face out of nowhere, and I tilted just enough to, like, see it, and I caught it, and everybody was spooked out. They were like, "Oh, how'd you do that?" And I was like, "Reflexes. I can feel movement." It's like Daredevil over here. Anyways, yeah, it creates this double blind thing though, because I'm blind to my own disability and also other people are blind to my disability, so they have no idea. And also, I maintain my own comfort, so I don't know any different either. And that's kind of what I'm getting at with like awareness. You do not know what you don't know. You only know how you navigate. You only know that. So therefore you need to become aware of what it is that you do know and what you don't know. And so anytime you come up with something new, anything that rubs up against you or something that you've never practiced before, practice it, do the practice. This is like something that kids and in this travels with people into adulthood where they've never tried something before, but they have an opinion about it, and so then they don't want to do it because they know for sure that it doesn't work. And it's like, how do you know you've never done it? I know that it's not. So then they purposely go into it blocked. I'm just gonna be stupid, but I'll do it anyways. I'll just do it with spite. So therefore it doesn't do anything and it doesn't work. And it's like, so you're just cutting off your own nose to spite your own face. Like there's nothing else that's going on here except for and those are the cases where it's like that's a tantrum, right? Like we're having an educational tantrum. But we do that about all sorts of things. Like I have to check myself on that all the time where I'm like, what am I actually um what am I actually cutting myself off from? Like what am I doing? Have I done this before? No. So then how do I know it doesn't work? How do I know that that's not going to work for me? Why would I go into this with this feeling or carrying this idea? Always go into things new with neutrality. If you're not neutral, unpack it. If you feel neither excited nor upset, you just like I don't really feel anything. Okay, that's a pretty decent headspace to go into something. If you feel curious, that's better. Way better. Curiosity, got a pulse. Um, but if you feel overly positive, you might want to check that, unpack it. What expectations are you applying to this thing that you expect? Um, from something that hasn't even begun yet, or something that you haven't experienced yet, right? Who's in what expectations are you bringing to this? And then also, if you have any negativities, right? What do you, well, like you've never experienced this before. Why are you bringing negativities to it that like needless? This is needless. It doesn't need to exist. That sort of a thing. That can be really helpful. Okay. I have not scrolled through any of this, but I will say, because I think I want to try to do one more before we go. The operational domain. So one of the things that I would say for this student to start, is regulation, and then role. Regulation and role. We want to look at the core tools from regulation and role. And let me scroll over here. There we go. For the people in the recording. There we go. We want to look for role, and then this is regulation right here. The reason why I say we want to look at just those two factors for the most part is when you're looking for your purpose and your role in life and you feel like you're kind of like stuck between two things, that's because you're finding it difficult to verify your position in stability, and you're also finding it difficult to hold your position. That's regulation. So especially when you're in a moment of transition, like you're in a moment of transition, that's exciting. It's exciting to like actually know that you have a purpose in life, because you could be walking around completely like clueless. You know what I mean? That's actually pretty scary. Like there's one thing, like some people are like, I wish I didn't know. I'm like, ooh, no. No, when people are clueless, oh man, that's scary. Like you are really beholden to whatever environment you're in and hoping, oh man, no, I'm sorry. I've played Guardian Angel in too many environments to ever wish that I was clueless. Absolutely the fuck not. Like guys, yeah, I'm just gonna leave it there. Yeah, so we want to focus on regulation and role. How can I like hold my own position during a moment of transition, right? Like I'm going between things. So how can I both maintain flexibility but also have stability in that, right? And that's a growing pain. That's a thing that you do. Um the tool set on this, the classes that I mentioned already, so embracing the elements, the non-material senses, that's going to cover all of this. So it's going to cover slip detection. Let me scroll down here for everybody at home. There we go. Slip detection. This is like, hey, I'm unconscious. Did you notice? Did you notice that? When did you notice that the alarm's going off, right? That's in the classes that I mentioned already. Stimulus regulation. Stimulus regulation is I'm feeling like a lot of different inputs. How do I, keep from consuming too much? How do I output some of the stuff that I'm consuming? Like, how can I keep up with that? We've got recovery practices. So, like, how do you rest? How do you get in contact with yourself to understand? Reflection at this point, so that you're not going into some weird shame spiral. Like oftentimes if you're in a shame spiral, I'm going to be like, listen, there's quite a few people out there in the world who are not in a shame spiral, and they should be. Get what I'm saying? You don't need to be, unless you've like clearly I really don't feel like my audience is really sitting on that wavelength, if that makes sense. I just that this goes out into the nether worlds. I'm just covering my own tracks. But I will say that for the most part, a lot of people really don't need to do shame spirals. They need to gain more awareness of different types of like ways of expressing oneself. Um, because like, yeah, sometimes stuff is inappropriate, but it's not like the end of the world inappropriate. And then there are some things that are like world ending inappropriate. Like, I will end your world, I will end it, that sort of a thing. So how do we do recovery practices so that we're not treating mundane moments like they are massive? Because that can happen when you're like out of regulation. Because just think of it as like, I'm not calibrated to approach this at the proper register. Like sometimes you really can't help hitting, like approaching something as a sharp A, like that. Like, this is how you're kind of coming into the situation. Um, you can't help that if you don't know it. So it's like once you do know it, then you recover. Oh, you recalibrate. You can move on. You can just, oh, you've recovered. And the recalibration of that too is a practice that when you do that consistently, when you calibrate, you check in when you with yourself, which is what recovery practices like covers an awful lot of, especially with embracing the elements and creative awakening. When you're constantly doing this, it becomes a new mechanism. Like every time you check in with yourself, you calibrate. You check in with yourself, you calibrate. It creates a habit creates a complex, and you then walk around with this as your complex. That whenever an emotion that sets off an alarm comes by, you calibrate. You check in with yourself and you start calibrating for it. That's a pretty nice complex. A daddy issue complex, every time a male figure walks by, you start freaking the fuck out. That's not the best complex to have, sure, but there are some great complexes to have, like how you check in with yourself. You know what I'm saying? Complexes aren't a bad thing. And the way that we create them is habits, and then once you know that, everything in your life starts looking like a complex, and you start rebuilding and changing some of your habits. You cut back on some things and you add new things in. And that's what I was talking about earlier. Oh, maybe this will be the last one, y'all. That's what I was talking about earlier when I was saying, building habits in your life and following along week by week. So I have so many habits, so many things that I want to do so like reading. For me, that's reading like at least 3 chapters of something in a week. Like I need to get through stuff, right? And I'm always adding new things and stopping and getting lost in a different book that I never intended to read. But I have the book, but then there, like constantly doing that means I end up with a pile of books that I'm in the middle of. So in order to get towards the end of the things I'm in the middle of, then I set mandatories. I have to at least read a chapter of each one of these books a week. Okay. And like anything new that I stumble into, fine. But I have to read a chapter of this. And if I have other books that I have to read a chapter of, and I keep stacking that, so it's like I got 7 books I have to read a chapter of that week. Right now, it's 1 book a day that I read for 30 minutes or just a chapter. Sometimes it's 30 minutes, sometimes it's an hour. If it's really focused, I can probably get that done in like 30 minutes, 45 minutes, depending on the book. Some things are dense. And if I can pound in 2, that's great, but I don't need to. I just focus on the 1 chapter. Oh, and I got that in for the week. If I want to spontaneously read it, that's fine. But you see, like if you can just jot down whatever. Now 7 books. I know that's a lot. I only have like 3 on my please read these as soon as possible. I only have space for like 3 things like that in my life. But then there are other things I want to do, like studying, right? So when you like, you guys know I'm doing Japanese. So I'm building up vocabulary right now. And so that means that I have to do like a lesson once a week. Just once a week. If you can just get your 1 in, and that's what I was getting at with the Bujo thing. But if you can get your 1 in, that helps. And that's what's building your habit slowly but surely. And that's really good. Reorientation protocols, that's kind of the same. It's not the same thing, but it's like returning to conscious choice. How can you step back into what you were doing after you slipped out? And then role calibration. So this is alignment. What role do you fit in? That's the next one that I like to draw attention to, because the other one is how do I maintain myself while I'm in transition of some sort. I'm in transformation. When transformation is happening, I just want you to think about it like a chemical exchange. You're experiencing a chemical combustion. Sometimes that feels great and sometimes it feels terrible. Okay. We don't have to put meaning to it. You can just acknowledge that some chemical reaction is happening around you, that slip, and then how you return to consciousness. Is this something that you need to confront immediately? Like if you return to the present moment and their chemical reaction is some guy yelling at you, "You're so rude to me. I can't believe that you would ever do this. You're a liar. You're a liar." And you're like, "Oh my God, this is the chemical reaction." Right? Like, obviously, what's in front of you is the problem. You don't need to stop and reflect. It's right there, and you can respond however is necessary, right? But like being able to respond however is necessary versus based on just the chemical reaction is what's helpful. Especially if you don't want it around. If you want, and I want, and think about it this way too, chemistry is the best. In this case, it's loosely. But if you want more of this in your own system, react emotionally to it. Engage with the emotion, right? Somebody comes up and they're like, "Hey, you know, I like you. We talk all the time. You're really cool, and I just wanted to like extend this moment to kind of invite you somewhere." You lean into that, right? If you were to step out of that emotionally and be like, I'm gonna reflect, like, okay, that's fine, but now this person's probably like, never mind, because that's kind of not how that doesn't leave someone feeling connected emotionally and confident. It leaves someone questioning, which means that they can also now leave that. Okay, well, yeah, take your time to think. I will take my time to think, and my time just said, ew, never mind. That was embarrassing for me. I don't want to experience it ever again. And this person and me, when these emotions are involved, lead to embarrassment. No, thank you. Right? If you lean in because you want to, now this person plus me plus these emotions equals fun time. So that's why lean in if you want more. Give it more of your attention, more of your emotional attention, more of your reactive attention. If you don't like it, react less, move out, give it less of your reactive attention. That's what happens when it's, whether it's in your physical domain and if it's in your non physical domain. So, meaning you are triggered, but you're triggered by a memory of something and you're like, ruminating or something. Do you want more? Lean in. If you want less, lean out, and that's the choice. Can you do that? And that's conscious. That's like reorientation. That's how you make conscious choice to return to your present time, to return to your alignment. And then role calibration is, what are you returning to, right? So what role are you returning to? Being able to like actually understand the role that you choose. Energy and exchange and discernment, the links is coming up here for us, right? This is being able to understand how to fulfill that role. So these two, planetary intelligence ends up here, and creating creative entrepreneurship. Those two courses end up in this space, where you can really, really learn a lot of discernment and stuff, and how to navigate with roles, but also in embracing the elements, because there's how do I fulfill and navigate my own roles with myself, and then how do I do that with the other, right? And how do I integrate my role with oneness overall? That's an embracing the elements kind of question that kind of shifts around. And then the other one's kind of, like creative entrepreneurships helps you a lot more with how do I engage with the other, because that is discernment. Like, for sure, not everybody is your intimate boo. Like, in the spirituality of things, we're all connected and we're all great. That's really cool. I'm also connected with a fucking viper, and I will stomp that bitch if she comes at me. You get what I'm saying? Like, I'm sorry, you're a scary snake coming at me and towards my house. You're all, and I'm like, ah, like we're going, like, I may not be the most gracious in that moment. If I stumbled upon it and I noticed it and we had a quiet moment, that's totally different, right? Then the snake just, I'm gonna eat you, or some shit like that, which can happen to people. You know what I mean? I will meet like with like you get, but the point that I'm making is just because you live in oneness with everything, and that is the spiritual way that we are, does not mean that you must also be compatible with it. Okay, you don't have to live in a house with vipers just because, we are all made of the same stuff, in other words. And that's about it for that one, I think. Yeah, that's kind of the, like, when it comes to what is my purpose on earth? What is my purpose? The tools that you have are so that you can watch it unfold in real time and discover it. Your purpose is to live. That was the answer that I had come up with not too long ago, by the way. Funny enough, the reason why agreed to, why I was like, this one's a great one. I was like, yes. Is because I had thought about the question after I seen it on a TikTok comment or something like that. Um, And I thought, well, what's my answer if my kid asked me that question? No, no, no. I had thought to myself, I wonder what a kid would answer if you asked them, what's your purpose on earth? And my first thought was, best answer is to live. Like, what else? What else am I here to do? It's like the base function. Like, it's such an obvious answer. And I was like, that is the truthful answer. It's to live. Knowing and getting to like see what life you lived is all based on your ability to observe while you do it at the same time. And I'm going to leave you guys with the story from The Alchemist. This guy, he visits King Solomon in his temple, and like, the house is amazing. It's got all these artifacts from all over the world, all over his travels and everything. And I think he wants to ask the king about, his secret and all this kind of stuff. And the king's like, listen, I'll answer your questions, but I got some work to do first. So here, just walk around the house, and I'll talk to you when I'm done or whatever. So he walks around the whole house. He sees all the beautiful stuff. I forgot that part. So when he's done walking around, obviously he goes up to the king and he's like, "Oh my God, you have to tell me, what is the secret to life?" And the guy looks at me. He's like, "You walked around my whole fucking house and you didn't like get it?" And he's like, "No, no, like, I didn't." And he's like, "Please, please, like, tell me. I'm so sorry. This, that." He's like, "Here, here, here. I'm gonna hold you. I'm gonna give you this spoon, and it had oil inside." And he's like, "I want you to carry this spoon around. Okay? Don't spill a drop. Okay? Now I'm almost done. Go ahead, walk around, and this time, think about it. Think about the question. What's the meaning of life? And when you're done, come back." So the guy walks around. And as he walks around, at first he's trying so hard not to spill the oil. He's like really obsessed, And then after a while, he starts getting lost in thought again. He's just seeing all this cool shit, and he's like, you know what? Yeah, like, I want to go out and I want to travel. I want to see the world. Maybe that's the purpose of life, to see the world. And he gets back to King Solomon. And he's like, did you figure it out? And he's like, I think maybe to see the world. And he looks at me. He's like, where's the oil? He's like, he looks down, the oil's gone, right? He dropped it all, obviously. And the king says, the point is to be able to do both at the same time. Hold on to what's precious, right? While also being able to look around you. That's how you keep your center, and that's how you keep your balance. You have to be able to hold on to what's precious. What's precious is your anointed oil. You are the oil that keeps the internal flame lit. It's your ability, right? Your consciousness. So keep your consciousness while you look around. While you look around, what's around you? Start jotting it down. Start taking notes. That's like the point of life. Take notes, and then you'll know what your purpose is, and you'll know everything because it's all around you. That's what we mean when we say it's all around you. There is literally, like, legitimately, what's all around you and what's all around me are two totally fucking different things. Like, respectfully, you all could never. No. But you know what I mean? Like, respectfully, my life is not replaceable. My life is not like iterable. I am not a walking ad. I'm not an ego blogger. You can't copy and paste. People could try, but that'd be fucking weird. People have tried. People have tried. It's weird every time. Oh man, I always get so weirded out when people start doing weird stuff. It's like, what? Just stop copying and pasting. Just be inspired to do your own thing, right? But that's the kind of the thing is you have this anointed oil. Your life is so miraculously different, so perfectly different. And it does not need to look the way that it does now. That's not what's different about it. What's different is what it is that you keep choosing to go back to and what you give more distance to. And in the beginning, that takes a lot of practice. If you are very new at all of this and you're sitting in a situation and you're like, I hate this situation, I want it to change overnight, I'm willing to do anything. Maybe, maybe not. Either way, the only change that's necessary is one step at a time. That's always the same for everybody. But how that happens, how that patterns out for you, what that looks like, is based upon your ability to hold your own energy and move at the same time. We're never standing still, we are always moving. Sometimes it's easy to hold your own energy right in context, but as soon as the context starts slipping away, you start going, was I really that good? Was I really smart? Was I really pretty? Did it really happen? Nobody's applauding me anymore. Did it really happen that way? Yes, it did. Jesus Christ. You gotta be able to hold your own energy even when nobody's looking. And the only way to do that is to just be yourself. You know what I mean? All right, I think that's it. Let me go check the questions. Okay, hold on. Let me turn this off so I can actually see questions on TikTok. Oh, let me turn this off so I can see you all. Wait, let me see. I think you guys are fine. I don't think I need to turn it off. Where is my Patreon people? Oh, there we go. Patreon. Ah, that's not what I meant. Stop it. Stop it, Windows. Okay. Have you heard of biomagnetism? Not specifically that word. However, I feel like I know what you might be talking about, which is like making yourself magnetic in your own biosphere, like your ability to magnetize and pull things in, right? If that's the case. But I don't know. How fast should we go through the 12 material senses? You can go through those like as you can binge those if you want. I would just suggest that you take notes. Like take your own notes. You'll see mine. Click the link so that you can see the videos. But you'll see mine. Just take notes because the notes will just help you be like a quick like, oh, these are the 12. This is something that reminds me of them. My own experience with them. If you could just write down like the sense of self, and then as you listen to the video, what experience that you have comes to mind, what images come to mind, just jot as many of those down. If a whole experience that you had comes to mind, just write my experience when this and this and this happened. Just something that jogs you back to the sense that's kind of conjured in that moment. And then just have that as your notes. And then it doesn't really matter how fast you go. Those ones, that one's just information. Like you are purely just taking in information. You don't need to do anything really practical. Although maybe I did put some like some some things that you could do. You'll have to see. I don't remember. It was so long ago. Uh, Let me see. I need to hear so many things I resonated with. That's so funny, Josh. As I was saying some things, I felt your energy pop up. I was like, "Oh, I gotta check the chat," and then I forgot. Just got scammed at the beach yesterday. Oh my god! In the last 2 weeks of the artist way and finding it hard to continue. Oh my goodness. Wait, you got scammed at the beach? Wait. Okay, these are two totally different. These are not related. The scamming at the beach is not related to the artist way, is it? If it is, oh my god, that's a book. Um, are those two separate instances? Huh. But then also in the last 2 weeks of the artist way and finding it hard to continue. Okay, so here's a good thing to do. Ask yourself one, are you finding it hard to continue because like have you done all of the other things in a manner that is conducive to you? So like you've just slowly been doing them, right? I would suggest that you just make time and sit down and like set a timer. 30 minutes here, 30 minutes there, and just get it done. If you're just at the like last bit of the slog, that happens. I don't think that there's any cure for that. I get that in every single class that I'm in. Um Whether I love it or not, in every single skill that I build, whether I love the thing or not, every project that I do, whether I love it or not, I get to that slog and it's like you just need to finish up. And then, but there's sometimes a little bit different. And because this happens too, so just check in with yourself. You may need to slow down and allow other things to fully finish inside of you. So, like you're integrating a lot of information. You don't need to finish right now. You need to finish like at some other time that who knows when. You know what I mean? And that could be the case too. It really to me, what matters is that you just know that you will finish, if that makes sense. I think that's what matters the most is that you know that you will finish and that you aren't being hard on yourself about the pause. Does that make sense? That's what would matter to me the most is that I'm not putting pressure on myself. So that way, if I need to finish digesting, I finish digesting. If I just need to go through it, then I just go through it and I make that as a comfortable of experience as I possibly can. So I'd get like lots of snacks and make it like instead of making it a school thing like it normally is, I would shake it up and do something fun. Like I'm gonna make a little party and little snacks and like have a little tea time with myself and like redo my whole area. Sometimes it's just the shake up of the energy sort of thing. That can be really helpful. I think that's it for this this recording on this one. So I'm gonna actually like let the recording stop. Oh my goodness, what happened? Okay, there we go. So that way that this one's done. And this one was Moose and Lynx. All right, everybody. There we go. I just want to end that recording really quick. And then I'm going to look at the TikTok informative. Thank you. Yes, no problem. In Venus sign to you, perhaps. In a Venus sign. You mean Taurus or Libra? Yes. I do have a Mercury in Taurus. Okay, finding purpose through it. Man, AI used to do this better. Come on, Loom. Okay, Moose and Linux. Remember, I was getting freaked out, guys. I was like, dang, they're putting AI in everything. And then it was like doing a good job. I was like, oh my God. All right, I got a few of these that I need to upload. I got the art project that needs to get uploaded. Hopefully going to do that by not hopefully. I'm doing that tomorrow. And then I think there's something else. Oh, the replay from last week to upload, and this one. So you guys will definitely get a roundup newsletter, which will have links to all of them. And probably a little write-up, or I don't know, I'll probably tell you something about what I'm doing. I'm always doing something weird, and then I write weird shit, and I'm like, I'm sorry. Hopefully you all find this entertaining. It's just where I'm at, so I just add that, and call it a day. I never know what I'm supposed to or not supposed to do until the moment of, and then I just am like, whatever. If the people need this, then they shall have it. I don't care. And I just leave it up to the world. Okay, so I don't know anything else about the biomagnetism. That has not popped up again. So I'm just going to let everybody go. Anything on the TikTok? Nope, that's it. All right, y'all. I'm going to get going so I can eat, and I got some work to do behind the screens too. I'm so excited about my mic and my whole new little setup here. I had a great class. And if anyone happens to be listening and you have an email that you sent me, especially if it's a consultation, I am getting those emails out this evening. So in case anybody is listening. Okay, yeah, everybody. I'll see you next week. Oh, yeah. This Saturday, we do not have art because it is the 4th of July. Eat some barbecue or something. Awesome. Usually live is every Thursday at 5 Mountain Time, so that's 7 Eastern. Usually it's on Thursdays, and also now on Saturdays at 7 o'clock Mountain Time, so 9 o'clock Eastern for Art Club. And the schedule and all of that kind of stuff, if you want to know, just follow the newsletter. And the newsletter, you always get a link to the live on Patreon. It's free. And that way, if you need a PDF or something like that, you can get it in the chat and all that. I love what you do. Thank you. I'm so glad. All right, everybody. I gotta go. I'm hungry. It's lasagna time. Have a great night. And thank you, Josh. I will enjoy my lasagna. Okay, bye everybody. Bye. Oh man, I love this new setup. I don't even want to leave. I just want to love. Okay.